public health experts have pitched the Swiss cheese model, must say never heard of this myself, as a framework for gun reform. So what has Swiss cheese got to do with gun reform in New Zealand? It's advocating for multiple layers of policy to ensure public safety. This includes stricter licensing, firearm registration, safe storage, and bans on military-style semi-automatics. The model emphasises that no single measure will fully address the issue, but a combination of reforms will reduce firearm-related harm. The coalition has its Arms Act rewrite out for public consultation, and it's open until the 28th of Feb, so a couple of weeks away. Everything's on the table, and Associate Justice Minister Nicole McKee said safety is her top priority. And she joins me now. Nicole, a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Leah. Great to be chatting with you once again.
Always nice to have a chat.
We're talking about cheese. I prefer blue cheese myself.
You know, I do like a good blue cheese, I must say, Nicole, but there's nothing wrong with a bit of Swiss because, I mean, let's get to it. A little over 2 weeks until the public consultation closes. Am I right in saying there's been a little over 500 submissions? Is that an acceptable amount or of interest? What does it tell you?
Yeah, so this is and I think I'll just clarify first, Leah, that this is the first stage of consultation for the full firearms rewrite, and this is rewriting the Arms Act 1983. So what's out for consultation at the moment is we've taken the Act, we've put it into 7 different themes, and we've asked people to comment on what works, what doesn't work, what would they like to see, what would they like to see gone, and get their ideas. So, for example, we've got a theme that's around dealers, we've got a theme around security, and then we're also looking at whether or not people can we're not looking at it, people can actually just email direct if they don't want to go through that discussion document. Once we get this in on the 28th of February, we will then go and have a look, and it's going to help us shape what a new futuristic Arms Act is actually going to look like. And we will go to the drafting board and start writing the Arms Act based on some of that consultation and some of the changes that we know need to be made. So this is stage 1. It's not the actual Arms Act rewrite, it's the beginning of consultation. And this is where we invite people who want to talk about the Swiss cheese model to come and actually put that within the consultation. They can email their ideas directly to the Ministry of Justice, and which is, if I may do a plug, firearms@justice.govt.nz, because some people have found that the discussion document's really big. And if you have an idea like the Swiss cheese model, then email it directly, and our officials can then have a look at it, they can investigate it, and they can come back to me with some ideas on whether or not it will work. In some ways, Leah, I think that we already have a type of Swiss cheese model.
Can you explain it, Nicole, to people listening what it is in a kind of...
Yeah, so effectively, if you think of you go to the supermarket and you buy a block of those ready-made cheeses, the single ones where you peel them off. If you think of them all being lined up and they've got holes in them, hence Swiss cheese, and they're basically saying you put people at one end, and at the other end you have your Arms Act. And in the middle you have all these areas where it's safety imposed. So if something was going to slip through a hole in one of the cheeses, it's going to hit a brick wall at the next cheese slice because the hole's not lined up.
Yes,
and in some ways we already have that, but I don't think we need to, I personally don't think that we need to layer our Arms Act in that specific model.
That was going to be my next question is, do you think that model was appropriate for New Zealand?
I personally don't, but then I don't have all the information, and this is where I'd like to allow people to come and say, what is it that we want to see? We want to see a Swiss cheese model. What does that look like? Tell us what you think it looks like. And as I said, I think we already partially have it in some respects. But at the end of the day, you don't want so much rules and regulations and barriers that our pests get out of control and we end up dropping poison everywhere in order to control them, where our international sports people cannot go and compete overseas because they can't get through a hole in the cheese, but they're legitimate, they're legal, and so we've got to make sure that we allow people to get on with everyday life, because the thing that we need to remember is there's just under 250,000 people who've been judged fit and proper by New Zealand Police, who are looked at every single day, and the moment they come to the attention of police, even if it's for a speeding ticket, Police National Headquarters are told about them. Firearms Safety Authority are told about them. So in a way, we have a model which is doing just that, and it's at real time as well. So I think, I'm not going to turn it down. I want to have a really good look at it, and I want the officials to give me advice on it. And I do want to encourage people to come up with these sorts of ideas and submit them to us before the 28th of February.
Nicole, you've got a couple of bills today scheduled for their first reading. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yes, I've got actually two bills that I'll be reading, but one of those bills incorporates three pieces of legislation. The first one that I'll be speaking to is an anti-money laundering, counterfeiting, financing of terrorism bill, which is, I'll just call it AML-CFT. It's an easier one.
Gosh,
but
they get longer and longer, don't they?
They do. But what a lot of people don't realise is it's really hard to just do everyday things because we're caught up in red tape around AML. To give you an example, I don't know the last time that you went to try and open a bank account or to sell a home, but you really have to jump through the hoops, and the people that you're jumping through them with, the businesses, have to do this customer due diligence. And it's repetitive, and it's repeating the same sort of information for the same sort of thing that you're doing over and over again. So what I'm looking at doing with the AML bill is really just taking away some of that bureaucracy that's not needed. So, for example, low-level trusts, people might have a property in a trust and they have to undergo this extensive CDD, customer due diligence. We're just going to remove some of that and say, hey, look, if you're not a risk, why are you having to jump through the hoops? So we're going to remove that. And we're also, looking at things like, for example, somebody comes into the country with $10,000 cash, they've got to declare that at the border, right? But if they want to come in and then they go see mum and they want to give mum that $10,000 cash, they've got to fill in all the same information again. Well, we've already captured that when they came through the border. So why are we making people repeat the same things over and over again? So these are the sort of little changes that we're making with AML-CFT. And then straight after that, I've got three regulatory systems bills, one for courts, one for tribunals, one for occupational regulation, which are going to go through. And to give you just a really quick example of what we're going to be doing there, in the courts, for example, we're going to enable coroners to direct their resources in a better way so that we can reduce waiting times in the coroner's courts, and that will help give uncertainty for grieving families. In the tribunal bill,
does that take quite a long time, Nicole, as it stands?
Yeah, look, we've had people come in that have said that their loved ones' cases have been in the coroner's courts for 8 years. How can you finalise or get on with life if you are stuck within a system still awaiting results for that long? So we've been making changes in that area, and this one will allow the coroners to be able to work more efficiently. Another bill that's going through is a tribunals bill, and an example of what's in there, because overall there's 63 changes in these bills, but an example is you go to the disputes tribunal and you win a case, then the tribunal adjudicator can actually order the respondent to pay the filing fee to the claimant. So you're not out of pocket of the filing fee. Hopefully, if somebody knows that they've stuffed up, they'll actually not get to the tribunal. They'll just say, hey, yeah, look, all right, I'll pay you off or whatever. But it allows the claimants to get their money back for even going to the tribunal.